Yeates. My company is Your Money Friend. And today I'm going to talk briefly about some of the lesser known effects of COVID-19 on a significant portion of our community. I'm talking about the elderly and often infirm adults whose personal situation has suddenly changed from being in a settled, stable and caring long-term relationship to that of a lost and lonely widow or widower living alone in their own home for the first time in decades. Over many years, I've witnessed how physical and mental health of, the physical and mental health of elderly people living alone deteriorates, which can result in them requiring hospitalization. I believe we owe it to our elders to help them enjoy the final years of their lives in a safe and secure surroundings where they can enjoy the social stimulus of being with others whilst having access to healthy food and drink and care whenever required. There is an ever-increasing number of elderly homeowners who would prefer to move into residential care on a self-funding basis, but where the value of their home is the main asset they have. They are generally unable to move. We refer to this situation as being asset rich and cash poor. However, there is some good news, but I need to go back in history a little bit to illustrate this. In 1984, after spending 23 years as an army medic, I became an independent financial advisor, an IFA. In 1995, following the introduction of the NHS and Community Care Act 99 coming into force, 1990, sorry, together with other IFAs, we formed an independent company called IFA Care. The Community Care Act had introduced laws and rules affecting the provision of care and the responsibilities for the funding of care. We became experts on this very complex subject, and myself and a well-known barrister, we organised teaching seminars throughout the UK for care home owners, solicitors, accountants and other IFAs. During this time, we were regarded as the go-to people to provide opinions or assistance on the new practices required by this new act. We worked with the Treasury, the FCA, local authorities, insurance companies, chartered insurance industry, and many other organisations. Despite the fact that all of this was over a quarter of a century ago, the needs of self-funding clients going into care with their chosen care providers are basically the same. Care homes need to know that the client can pay for their care, and the care homes normally require proof of funds to cover 2 years' fees. Clients need to know that they have sufficient assets to pay for their care for the rest of their lives. And it's in everybody's interest for them to move into residential care quickly without having to worry about the sale of the home, the family home. All of these things can be achieved, but there needs to be a reversal of ideas so as to go back to what we used to do. At the end of the last century, if a client wanted to move into a residential care establishment, they paid the care home a visit, checked out the costs, worked out whether it was affordable, and then took into account pensions and savings and consulted a specialist long-term care advisor. After gathering the facts, the client was introduced to a finance company that could provide a bridging loan sufficient to satisfy the financial requirements of the care home whilst the property was being sold. Clients were also introduced to a company that provided a stress-free property sale, and which relieved pressure on the client and the attorneys. The sale proceeds, together with pension savings and allowances, were taken into account when planning the most appropriate strategy to provide an increasing lifelong income. This was organised by the client's advisors, working with the family and attorneys, and being guided by a care planning specialist, IFA. Over the last 12 months, I have been replicating the practices we used in the past, and I'm delighted to report the arrival of the complete care funding plan, which is now available through Your Money Friend Limited. I have renewed agency agreements with the specialist companies needed to provide a complete service to any self-funding clients wanting to move into residential accommodation. And I'm more than happy to introduce clients to the most appropriate advisor to meet their needs, and have decided that this service will be provided at no cost to clients. The systems have been tested, and I'm delighted to report the successful arrangement of a bridging loan for £140,000, which will enable a 73-year-old lady to move into her chosen care home on the 2nd of June this year. Another client is receiving funding advice for her 88-year-old mother to pay increasing care costs using her reserve capital. Further information about care funding and any other later life planning strategies is available on my website. Details are in the chat room, and I'd love to hear from anybody that thinks I can help them. Thank you for your help.